For today's experiment, we will be focusing on digital output using microcontrollers. For this experiment, we will be using MPLAB-X IDE. The first step is to create a new project, microchip embedded, and then standalone project. And then we will be using the PIC 16F18875. Then we will be using the XC8 compiler, and then create a folder. Then save your project. And then press on tools and then embedded and then MPLAB configuration tool. After that, we have the interrupt module, pin module, and the system module on the project resources. And then we are gonna use the port 4A and then go to pin module and then uncheck the analog and rename it to LED_2. And then the next step is to go to the system module, but we're just gonna use the default settings. Alright. Make sure that the low voltage is checked also. And then press generate. After generating, go to projects and then source files, go to main.c file, and then we are gonna program the microcontroller on this part. Gonna put _delay, then _ms for 250 ms. Then we're gonna put the LED. And then press build. After the build is already successful, we'll now be using the picket tree with the programmer, and then we're gonna connect the microcontroller, which is the PIC 16F18875, and then connect it to the computer. After connecting it to the computer, we will now be using the program called MPLAB IPE, and then browse for the hex file created on the MPLAB IDE, and then just press program, and then when the program is successful, then it is already complete. For the part of this will be the assembly. So the materials that we are going to be using is the picket tree with the programmer, and then we are also going to use the microcontroller, which is the PIC 16F18875, and then we are also going to use the breadboard, including the breadboard power supply, and then we're also going to use the LED, the resistors, and the connecting wires. For the assembly, I will be using a breadboard power supply. This will be connected to the breadboard. And then for the next step, I will be attaching the microcontroller, which is the PIC 16F18875. You can see the pins on the screen. So I'll be attaching the RA4, which is on the 6th pin, and then connect it to the breadboard. and then put the resistor, and then I'll also be putting the LED. And for the next step, I'll be attaching the VDD and the VSS. The VDD is located on the 11th pin on the microcontroller and on the 32nd pin on the microcontroller. This will be connected to the positive rail and the VSS will be on the ground. Test this. I will now be inserting the DC power supply to the breadboard power supply, and then it is now blinking for 0.25 seconds or 250 milliseconds. For the next step, we'll be editing the code and use 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds for the blinking of the LED or the delay of the blinking of the lights. So after building it and the building is already successful, we'll go to the MPLAB IPE and then reload the hex file and then click on program. Then let us test the new program microcontroller, which will be having 2 seconds delay on the blinking. Okay, so as you can see, the delay of the LEDs are already in 2 seconds.